Hi, it's Ryan from Sites for Church. And in this video, I want to give you an introduction to Markdown. Markdown is a very important part of what we're doing here at Sites for Church, and it's very important that you learn it. In fact, this is the very first thing that we ask you to do, is to learn Markdown, to watch this video and to do these exercises because they're necessary for adding content. Okay, I have my sermon here. This is my sermon from last Sunday morning, and I've got it in a little booklet, and all the verses are organized a certain way. It has a table of contents. It's very, very easy for me to read this, okay? And I want to show you how I write this sermon. So I am opening the program that I use here, and the program on the left is how my sermon is written. It's actually written in Markdown, and on the right is just a program that looks at this file and turns it into styled text. And so you can see here, I've got, point number 1, the command. If I wanted to change that to the test or something just for your sake, and I hit save, then it's changing over here, okay? You can see my lists are styled a certain way, my verses are styled a certain way, and it's all just a couple characters over here. In this, on the left, writing this, I don't think about it. I do it. I've been doing this, for a while now, and it's so easy to learn, and it's really cool. Now over here, I can change the style of this because if I wanted to change it to look like this, I could really quickly, or it's just basically looking at this text and turning it into styled text. And that's the basic idea behind Markdown. It's something that's just a couple little rules for writing text that's really easy to read that turns into styled text. Computers know how to turn it into styled text. So when you write a blog post, or you write about pages, or you have a write-up for an individual ministry on your church, we want it to be in this Markdown format. And so I want to ask you to take a few minutes and learn Markdown. It's not going to take very long, I promise. Just a few minutes, and I'll show you the basics of Markdown. So I've switched to a new setup here, and it's the same thing that we had before. I've got Markdown on the left, and I've got the styled text on the right, so I can show you how this works. And I've just made the text really, really big. And let's start with paragraphs. So let's say, I want to say Ryan is really cool. Okay, and I just hit save. It turns it into a paragraph. It's really simple. If I want another paragraph, I have to make sure that there's a space in between them. So I could say Ryan loves websites. Save that. All right. Now, the one important thing to remember, and really the only thing to remember, is that paragraphs need space between them. So if I were to delete this space and just have an enter between them, it actually wouldn't work. So got to have spaces between the paragraphs, okay? And paragraphs are really, really simple. I'll paste some, some lorem ipsum in here, and hit save, and it's just a matter of having writing text. So there's nothing special you have to do to write paragraphs. All right, what if you want to make something italicized? Well, the easiest way to make something italicized is to put an asterisk on either side of it. So let's say I wanted to make the word really italicized. I would go up here and I would put an asterisk on either side of it. And I'm going to hit save, and you'll see over here, really is italicized. And my program here even helps me by making it italicized for me. So all you have to do is a single asterisk on either side makes it italicized. If you want to make something bold, it's very similar. It's just 2 asterisks. How do you say that word? Asterisks? Okay, that makes something bold. And the same thing works with several words. If you wanted to make several words italicized, you would just put a single asterisk around several words. If you wanted to make several words bold, it's the same thing. 2 asterisks around several words. Okay? So that's how you do. That's really the basics of writing. Just write as you normally would. Make sure that there's spaces between your paragraphs, and you make things italicized with a single asterisk, bold with 2 asterisks. Okay, what about headings? Headings would be the next thing. Okay, you want to give some outline to your text and you want it to have headings. Well, headings just start with a number sign or a hash and then a space at the beginning of a line. So this is a level 1 heading. Okay, this is a level 2 heading. 2 hashes. Level 3, you get the idea. Okay, so that's headings. Really, really simple. Just a hash and a space. All right. Another thing that you're going to want to do on a regular basis is you're going to want to have lists, like bullet points. How do you do bullet points? Well, it's the same idea. You start the line with an asterisk, and then you do a space, and then you type your bullet point. So this would be point 1. This would be point 2. This would be point 3. And that's it. That's all there is to doing bullet points. One other thing that you're going to want to do is quotes. I use block quotes for writing Bible verses most often. And what I do is you use a greater than sign, and then a space, and then your quote. All right? Greater than sign, space, quote. One other thing that you need to know how to do is to make links. And the links use this syntax. They use square brackets and then parentheses right after each other. The way I remember it, my silly way of remembering it, is square peg, round hole. That's just how I remember it, okay? Square peg, round hole. Square brackets and then parentheses. So what goes inside the square bracket is the text that you want. So this is a link, and then what goes inside the parentheses is the URL. So this would be http://link.com. And then that turns that into a link you can see over here. All right, so square peg, round hole. The text that you want to be a link, and then the URL that you want to link to. One more thing, and that is images. And images use the same syntax as links. The only difference is you put an exclamation point. And so I remember that as bang, square peg, round hole. So in this place here, you would put the text that you want to show up if there was no image. So this would be called the alt text here. And then here you would put the URL to the image. So we would do http:// and I'll do this. All right, and so this would just be the link to your images. Now, that's the basics of Markdown. That's really all you need to know. Everything that's on here is all you need to know to write Markdown. Honestly, I wrote Markdown for a long time before I ever even knew how to do links and images. You can get by with just this stuff for 90% of it. But I want to show you something. There is a free web app called Classor, and there'll be a link to this in your welcome email. And this web app allows you to write Markdown very easily. So it's app.classor.io. Again, there'll be a link. And we'll just do this as sample. And this is just a free web app where you can write your Markdown code. So you can write Markdown here. And a couple cool things about this is that it gives you this thing up here, so you can bold stuff and italicize stuff. If you forget your syntax, you can throw in a quote, and you see the caret there, or the greater than sign. All right, so quote here. There's a button for links. There's all kinds of stuff to make this easier. Your lists are right there for you. Lines or horizontal lines. It's just right there. So this is, test. You can do it formats for you as you type. At the bottom, it shows you how many words and how many characters you have, and that's really helpful. But it also gives you the opportunity to preview. You can click on that little button and it pops up a preview. Let me show you one or two other things about this that I really like. Okay, it gives you this sidebar option, and this has all the links to everything you could possibly need to help you with Markdown. So that's really cool. And then one other thing I really love about this is that it makes adding images really simple. So all you have to do is click this little image button at the top and then drag and drop an image. Let me see if I have one here. Drag and drop an image onto the screen and it pops the image in. So it's just a really simple way. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I want you, if you're a pastor, to try writing your next message in Markdown. You know, just pull this out and type out your next message or your next outline in Markdown, and see how easy this is for you to learn. Open up this Classor app and just type out something. If you're not a pastor, if you're somebody else, just sometime in the next day or so, make it a point to write something, whether it's a page for the website, whatever you want to do in Markdown. If you learn this and you get this under your skin, everything else is easy. Everything else that we're going to ask you to do is cake. This is the number one, only part of this whole thing that's at all technical. And it's something that is just so useful and so easy to learn. So please take a few minutes and get your head around Markdown.